Welcome to day one. Day one of the launching your profitable coaching business. Now, this does apply to those who have a service-based business. Essentially, it is you that has a service, content that you have created or are creating for those who are looking to launch their business. We're going to also cover launching your business. Maybe you've seen me talk about this. Maybe you've seen other people talk about this, but this launch strategy that is beyond just when you first launch your business. Essentially, this is part of getting visible, but not only getting visible, staying visible so that you are top of mind, front of mind for your particular area, your category that you are in, for your product, your service, your core offering. We are going to cover quite a bit today. This is going to be packed full of information as well as some thoughts and looking at us as the business owner or creator or holder of that space too. So let's start with what are we going to cover within this 3-day training? So this is a 3-day virtual training. Getting my notes pulled up. Have you all? I'm a notepad person. Like I love a pen and paper, but I'm really trying to get better about utilizing the iPad and taking notes because it's also much more efficient. So as we get started, say hello. Let me know about your business. Good morning. Kelly is on. Kelly in Vancouver. Fantastic. Welcome. And as you come on, say hello. For me to see your name, we're on StreamYard, so you will have to just go real quick to StreamYard, put your name in, make sure you say okay, and then that way we can showcase you. This is a great opportunity to tell us about your business. We've got a bunch of businesses here. Just say hello, where you're from, tell us about your business. So within this 3-day virtual training, day one, we're talking about the foundation, right? We have to have a strong foundation within our business, and we're talking about that business model. We want to make sure that we're setting ourselves up for success within our business because a lot of us are going from a hobby into creating it into a business. Some of us have learned a new skill or have gotten a degree or certification and we're ready to turn that into a business. And then for others, we may have already have our business and we are just going, okay, I've hit this roadblock or I've hit this barrier, this invisible wall, and I can't seem to get past it. Maybe you're offering coaching programs or just coaching. It's a lot of one-off services. Okay. So we're going to come into that today. Day two, we're talking about your online presence. So, how do you really optimize making sure that people see you and how you show up? So, we're going to dive deeper into that. And then on day three, that big thing a lot of us want to know is how do we get actually get clients? How do we implement conversion strategies? All right. So, we're going to be covering quite a bit within these 3 days. So, I recommend you have a notepad. Now, you can catch the replays within the Facebook group. You can sign up to get the emails to make sure that you don't forget, and really trying to implement what we're talking about as quickly as possible so that you can be on your way to making more money. Now, is owning your own business easy? Not always. It's not always easy. And one of the things that gets really not easy is the overthinking it, the lack of clarity, the not sure how to create a profitable model that is easy to scale. And what generally happens is we start overcomplicating it. And this can happen for a few reasons, and it might not be your fault. One, it might be you've watched a lot of trainings, you've read a lot of books, and you're getting some people are saying this and some people are saying that, and you're trying to figure out which one's going to work best for your business. All right. Who's had that? Put number one in the chat if that is you. You overconsumed maybe multiple different models, ways of thoughts, and you're just not sure which one is best for you. Put a number one in the chat. If you have tried things and it didn't work for you, you've tried a couple of things and it didn't work for you, it felt really confusing, and you're like, I've tried a lot, I'm spinning, and I'm not sure where to stop and land, put a number 2, and you might be all of these, and that's okay too. I have balloons that pop up on my screen whenever I do the number 2 occasionally. So if you find that you've tried a lot of things and you just keep spinning and you're not really sure where to land, put a number 2. If you are like, there's so much information out there, I've seen it, I've heard it, maybe I haven't fully digested it, and I haven't really even tried to implement what people are saying yet. I haven't even tried to implement it because it's just so much noise and I'm just overwhelmed before I even get started. Put a number 3. Put a number 3. And then for all of you all that are like, I've tried some things and I've had some things really work well, and I've had a layer of success, but there seems to be this glass ceiling, invisible wall, something that I just can't seem to break past to get to the next level, then I want you to put a number 4. Put a number 4 if you are having that glass ceiling, that invisible wall, something is holding you back from really taking it to the next level, then let's put a number 4. All right. So these are really like who we're talking to today within this training are these 4 categories. And again, you might found that you are in all 3 of those first ones, and that's okay as well. Maybe we've gone through seasons where it's like, yeah, I've been all 4 of those at one point, and I'm just at a spot that I'm not happy with. And I just need to find more satisfaction in my business and feeling successful. And today really starts with 1, let's define what that success looks like. Often we have this image in our mind of like, I'll know it when I feel it. But what if we could really start to define what success looks like? So let's put a time frame. So we have to really make this time bound. If you would like to do a year, fantastic. Sometimes I like to think really big and then scale back. So in a year from now, where do you really want to be? And if that's too hard to think about, then just wait. But I recommend experimenting with it. In a year from now, where do you want your business to be? Do you want it to double in revenue for those who might be at 4? Maybe you're wanting to hit that $1,000,000 mark. And then maybe you're just like, hey, in a year from now, I just really want to make 100K or a little bit more than that. I'm just at that 100K. All right. So if you are, hey, I want to double my revenue, put in a 3. If you want to double your revenue, put in a 3. If you are just like, hey, I would just want to hit the 100K mark, put a 2. And if you are like, hey, I just want to get my first few clients, put in a 1. All right. So doubling revenue or $1,000,000 mark, put a 3. If you are like, I want to hit that 100K and I just want to be at a comfortable 100K, put 2. And then if you're like, I just want to get my first couple clients, put in a 1. All right. So let's test those waters as well. Now we're looking at a year from now. And if you're wanting to double, then, the obvious would be half of that would be at that halfway mark. So in 6 months from now, we can make a lot of changes. That's where I really want to get you to. In 6 months from now, we can make a lot of changes. In 3 months from now, we can make a lot of changes. And if we really want to look at like how can we transform our business within the next 3 months that sets us up for that 1 year goal, 5 year goal, whatever that might be that you have in mind, we really have to ensure that we have a goal set first and foremost. So if you're wanting to hit that 100K, then by the half year mark, you need to be at 50. And at the quarter year mark, in 3 months from now, we would need to be at 25. So let's look at that. And of course, everyone can adjust their numbers. I'm going to play with these numbers because They're going to be easy for me to think about while I'm sitting here with you. So I've got my little pad at 25,000. Let's divide that down and in 3 months. Now, hopefully we all understand that just because we want to hit 25,000 at the end of 3 months, it doesn't mean that we're going to rationally split 25 into 3 and we're going to make, I'm going to get you that number here in just a moment. It doesn't mean that we're going to make 8,000 this month. Okay? What this can mean is that this first month we are doing all of the prep work so that we can have the launch in month 2 and in 3 so that we can make those bigger numbers happen. Now, I really like to talk about numbers and our relationship with money, especially for those who, we haven't made the 100K a year yet. Looking at those numbers, like really 100K, I say that first year, like 50% of that really needs to go back into your business. And some other coaches are going to tell you 100%. But let's be realistic. If we're going all in our business, we really need to be getting at least 50% of that so that we can sustain us to stay in our business. Now, for some of us, we're like, okay, 50K a year, I can live with that salary. I could live with that. But we also don't want to be in our comfort zone because we really want to get you yourself to be making 100K a year, which means your business would need to be making around 200K. Okay. I like to work with the 50% model because it leaves room for growth, but it also leaves room for sustainability for us as well. All right. So if you like that, thumbs up. Thumbs up if you're like, okay, I can live with a 50% model. All right. So we are now looking at 50%. Why? Why are we looking at 50%? Because a portion needs to go towards taxes. A portion needs to go towards your business continuing to grow. A portion of your portion of that needs to go to building a team, because if your business is relying on you and you only, that is not a business model, that is a contractor model. And we want your business to be able for you to take a vacation and business doesn't stop. We want you to be able to be sick and your business doesn't stop. We want things to still be in place. And let's face it, your business will go faster when you have more people and when we have systems and operations. All right. So these are things that we teach within the Million Maker Business Blueprint is we have to be able to set our business up for growth. Now, the Million Maker Business Blueprint, it's a thought, right? It's a thought of getting our business to this very large level. Now, for some people, a million is a lot. For some people, a million is not. It's the scalable model. All right. So it's so that our business is to the point where we could sell it. Our business is so that it could practically run itself. That is where we are aiming to get ourselves so that you get to do what you want to do within your business instead of staying a solopreneur. The goal is not to stay a solopreneur. If we look at any corporate business, which maybe you're like, I don't want to be a corporate business, you don't have to be, but I use them as a reference model quite a bit because they are able to employ other people. The business owner can have a CEO that's running the business for them. The business owner gets to do what they want. They get to view it, they get to own it, they get to enjoy it. And so they could take on any role within the business that really feels comfortable for them. And I like to say that because a lot of times we think, oh, I have to be the CEO, I have to be running the business. But for you to be the coach, the primary coach in the business, and to be the CEO is a lot. All right. So just looking at that. So I won't get into too much more on that. That's a whole nother training. But let's really look at this business model because we have to have that foundation. Let's make sure you all can hear me. It said something, my mic was unmuted or was muted. Okay. So within our business model, we need something that we can reach multiple people at one time. So if we are going knocking on people's doors, let's use the old door knocking method. You're going and knocking on people's doors. You're going to start to go, okay, how many people's doors can I knock on in each day? And then how many people's doors did I knock on in order to get a conversation even? Then I got the conversation. How many conversations turned into sales? Most businesses will have salespeople out doing that because in order to go do sales at a door-to-door method, which that can be done online, right? Like you're seeing that message in the DMs. So they've got this door-to-door method. You can't be running the business if you're doing door-to-door sales unless you're like, okay, 2 weeks out of each month, I'm going to be door-to-door sales. And then 2 weeks out of each month, I'm going to be actually doing coaching. And so that model is not a healthy foundation for your business to be on. So if you want door-to-door sales virtually, you are going to need to have someone else do that for you. And that is a model that you could follow. And if you have a course or training already built out, you've already built it out, it's already perfect in there, and you don't really have to do anything to support them, then maybe you can do the door-to-door sales. But who likes to do door-to-door sales? Most of us don't like that. So if you do not like to do door-to-door sales, then put no. Put no in the chat. If you like to do door-to-door sales, then put door in the chat. Like maybe you do like that, and there's nothing wrong with liking that as well. But if we are going to build a foundation on success, one, you can have your course already all built out, and then you're going to sell it that way. The other model is that you launch your business and you launch your business every 6 weeks. Every 6 weeks. And there's different ways to do that. I teach that all in the launch code, which is part of our bigger programs. So there's more. But within the launch code, we talk about how we need to launch our business every 6 weeks to get eyes on our business. That's also part of the Get Visible method. Because when you get out there and you start talking about what it is that you're offering, we do it in a way, right? Like, so this training right here is supporting my current clients. It's supporting my current clients. It's supporting my followers, so people that have been following. It's supporting new people that are coming into my funnel. It is also supporting my social media strategy of going live and ensuring that people are seeing me and associating my branding. So we have a multifaceted approach. And what I also like to do is I like to warm up you all so that when you all come into the training program, you have a base knowledge level so that I don't have to spend this time making you watch additional training videos or making you get familiar with what it is, getting excited and knowing truly what you're diving into and why you're diving into it. So do you see this multifaceted approach of when we can launch and we can do it in an educational way? Now, traditionally, there were campaigns. And a campaign I still recommend doing. You can do a campaign in tandem with your launch where there's the social media posts that are going out. You're leading up to the launch. There can be a campaign leading up to the launch as well. We can get more into that within the training modules, but having an overview of where this all fits in. Now, when we utilize this style business model, we are using it because we are going to start our programs on a specific day. And that means that our programs can either have a cycle of start and end, or they can be evergreen, meaning people can drop in at any point and take your trainings. This works on a group model. Now, that does not mean that you cannot work one-on-one with people. I still have one-on-one clients. I've just reduced the number of people that I take on one-on-one because I have looked at what type of business is going to work well for me. So that's what we're getting ready to talk about next. What type of business is going to work well for you? Because having this online only, having group, having one on one, we need to know what's going to fit our schedule. So for me, I can only work from 9 to 2 each day. And then I have some time in the evenings to teach. So for me, it was going, okay, I have limited hours. And then there goes, okay, what days do I really need to be free? If you have a larger coaching program or you're working on developing a coaching program, you need time to prepare. So if you're an artist, you're going to need time to do art. You're going to need time to work on the backside of the business as well. So when I say I can work from 9 to 2, I have to really look at that. So I'm going to get my I feel like Blue's Clues, my handy dandy notebook. You can tell I'm a mom. So getting your notebook and really saying, in all practicality, what hours do you want to be working with people? Okay, so step one, what hours do you want to work with people? Meaning this is time that you can take one-on-one clients. This is time that you can do sales calls with people. This is time that you can maybe provide coaching, that you can meet people for coffee if you want to meet people for coffee. And this might look different each day, and that's okay. So you need your people schedule, and that's not your permanent. You're just writing down availability. Step 2. Step 2, you need to say there's the balloons again. It's party time. So step 2, you need to say, when do you work best in creativity mode? And I'm gonna give you some hints. When do you work best in creativity mode? So creativity mode typically happens when you are relaxed. This is going to work well in the mornings, and this can also work well after a break. So I am going to highly recommend as a business owner that you have time to meditate, do yoga, do art, whatever your outlet is, to do that and then to move into your creativity time. These are going to be essential for you. And we're going to get talking into more of this here in a moment with your grounding, your stability. We need an anchor in our business, but we also need that anchor within our lives because you are the energy holder of your business. For example, I see a lot of business owners, we can get in creativity mode and we get so creative and we're thinking about all these amazing ideas, but it's mixed with a concoction of scarcity and survival as well. And so we get these spur ideas and we have no schedule and we have no root core offer within our business or true plan within our business, which we're going to keep diving back into. And what ends up happening is they're over here creating a new product and a new product and a new product, and their business is never anchored because they are not anchored. So we have to find an anchor within our business and we have to have an anchor within ourselves to keep ourselves grounded. Now, I come from a background in yoga therapy and really utilizing chakras, and I think it's becoming more and more common. So I'm going to speak for a moment on this. Within the chakras, it's essentially my sports medicine background. It's essentially the nervous system and where those nerves tie into our body. I think it's really easy to say, the nerves that tie into the neck run throughout certain parts of the body. The nerves that tie in behind the heart tie in with the lungs and with our arms and things like that as well. So it ties into certain, let's say, vibrations have certain weights, meaning they tie into certain areas of our body along with that nervous system. A more scientific view for that point. There's sayings of in like hermetics, like as above, so below. So just as we can say like, "Oh, well, I need vision and this is my more visionary chakras and I'm in my head a lot." This visionary and purpose is also in the lower chakras as well in a more grounded fashion. And we need to take ourselves out of our head and get much more grounded. And so when we start talking about vision, we come from a sense of purpose and bigger purpose rather than the vision of, I just need to be able to see it all. And so when we can get grounded into these lower chakras first, then we can allow ourselves to explore the upper chakras. It is very easy to get caught up in scarcity, survival. It can wreak havoc on our hormones, even when we are up in our head all the time. And I would say most of us that have experienced meditation or yoga and that feeling at the end of a session or end of a class and going, this feels so good. I need more of this. And then we go back out into our lives, and the next day we're back up in our heads a whole lot. And we can end up leaning into burnout because that causes what we call in Ayurveda a vata quality, which is this dry air type. And it's like this shriveling up, this burnout. And then when we can get back into our lower chakras, into our root and into the sacral and into the solar plexus, we can feel really grounded, and it has more of this like juicy, earthy quality where we're just like, "Oh, I feel good. I feel like I can get into flow." So if we're wanting to get into flow, and we're wanting to work in flow, and we're wanting to feel grounded, and we're wanting to have clarity, it does not come from being all up in our heads. It comes from being grounded. So if you are wanting flow, type in flow. If you were like, no, I like the hustle, I like the drive, I like the, being up in my head, then write hustle. And neither one of those is wrong until it gets out of proportion, right? So nothing is good, nothing is bad. Everything is relative. So if you want to be in flow, type flow. If you want to be in hustle, then type hustle. Hustle is much more of this masculine energy versus flow is much more feminine energy. And when I say feminine and masculine, it has nothing to do with sexual orientation. Eh, Everybody, every woman, every man, every whatever your gender is, has feminine and masculine energy. And I think we notice this in a lot of Latin languages, right? Like certain words are masculine or feminine. It has nothing to do with feminine or masculine, right? So we're talking about being able to get into flow. So when we first look at us as the business owner, if you are a solopreneur to start, or maybe you find that you might have a couple employees, but you're just working all the time, we have to start with simplicity. We have to start with simplicity. So, for one, if you are working all the time and right now that's okay for you, it's not going to be okay forever, especially if you're a parent or you have a significant other or would like to have a significant other. It's not going to work forever. So, we need to put boundaries on our business. We need time again for the art, for the yoga, for the meditation, for the outlets. Maybe it's your runner, maybe you like to go to the gym, maybe there's something that you like to do. We want to make sure that we are infusing those into your day and into your schedule and into your life so that you yourself can stay grounded and that you are not your business and your business is not you, but rather you are supporting. You're in alignment. So you've got your people schedule. But I wanna make sure that you also have the time for you. So, when is optimally the time for you? And I want you to see this as we start to write this down, because what ends up happening a lot of times is we fill our schedule up with all this time because we think we need all of this one-on-one time for clients. But your business model might not support that. Or your life might not be able to support that business model. So we need to choose a business model that is going to work for the type of life that you need. So we're talking about forming our business model. And we've talked about at the very beginning, maybe you've seen all these different types of trainings and they're telling you to do this and to try this and to do this. And you're like, that just doesn't work for me. I can't seem to make it work. Like I always said, you need to be able to have, 20 sales calls each week. Well, that doesn't work for my business model. So then what type of business model do I need? And that's why the launching business model works for me and how to actually make it work for you too. And I can tell you, like, there is a certain number of sales calls that, yeah, you should have space for, but we need to know how many spaces you have for sales calls. So, in order to do that, I don't want you to sacrifice what is going to actually create a healthy foundation for you. Okay, so let's start with you time. That was number two. So, number two is you time. So, what time do you need to do the things that you need to do? Well, also, what time is the best time for your creativity and focus? You might not know this yet, and that is okay. But when is it easiest for you to do all of that back end work? And I will tell you for me, it's not Friday. Mostly on Friday, I do not want to go back and, make sure everyone's notes are organized and make sure that I did everything I was supposed to for the week and all of that. That normally doesn't work out so well on Friday. Friday, if anything, I want to just write. Like, I just want to write something. Or on Friday, maybe I want to do nothing. Maybe on Friday, I don't have a lot of thoughts. I'd rather just meet with people. Maybe the type of life you want, you're like, hey, I would love to start taking vacations and long weekends. And so, really, I don't want to schedule a lot of people on Mondays and Fridays. So, I taught a training a while back on like strategic planning for your business. And most high up successful CEOs will tell you they do most of their work on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. One, it's all squashed together. Three, if they go, or two, if they go really hard for 3 days, that tends to be the most that they can really do. And then there's always like holidays on Mondays. And a lot of times people will take off on Fridays for that long weekend. So it gives them the capacity to take these long weekends as well. So I tend to do a lot of my planning stuff and a lot of my review stuff and a lot of my writing on Mondays and Fridays. That also gives me the capacity if I need to reschedule someone, I have some open spots on the regular. So I really don't tend to schedule a lot on those days. But if I need to, it leaves me the capacity for that. Now, again, we're talking about creating boundaries so that we can create a healthy business model for our business. So, thinking about those things, let's say you're going to do this on a Monday or a Friday. Maybe Wednesday, you needed to stop at 2 on Wednesdays so that you can take some you time on that Wednesday. So you get to choose. And this was a really big thing for me when I was revamping my business was going, okay, I've done this now for a year or two and what's working well and what's working not well. And we need to constantly reassess this. And I recommend reassessing this every quarter to go, what went well this quarter? What didn't go well this quarter? What do we want to bring into next quarter? And using these agile project management approaches, these scrum approaches, even to implement into our businesses so that we can keep growing. If we do not take the scheduled time, and this is what this is really about, is creating this schedule, this anchor, this foundation for our business and really sticking to it. Okay. So we've got our time that we can actually work with people. This is our true availability. Then we've got, okay, what's actual reasonable for me to actually do? And then three, we really do need to weave in these planning sessions, these strategic planning, these strategic anchoring, these review sessions, because if we do not schedule them into our calendar, they will get pushed off as not a priority because they're not a moneymaker or they're not what I feel like doing. But if you want to be a serious, successful business owner, you are going to have to schedule these times. And you can either do them with yourself, you're going to grow a team, so you'll do them with your team, or you can join a group that holds these sessions. We do. So, or you can have a team where you join a team and do these together. And that's like whether it be coaching or something along that line. So you need your strategic. So we've got one, our actual calendar, two, making sure we've blocked our time. Now you have an idea, and let's say strategic. You're like, Izzy, you didn't tell me how much time I need for strategic. You need a review session every month, and you need a planning session every month. Now, depending on the type of projects and how much work you having going on, you could do every 2 weeks. If you're solo, you're going to do it at least every month. Now, every day you should have a check-in with the work that needs to be done. And at the end of every day, I recommend noting what was done and what needs to be done the next day. But those can be 15 and 15. For your review and for your planning, I recommend taking one day out of each month where half the day you can potentially review, and then the second half of the day you could do all of the planning. Now, if you are doing all of your social media, I recommend have a whole day for social media planning. Then you're going to have your launch strategy on there. So those things need to be planned, but you can do that from your planning session too. Now we get a general idea of that. And then I want you to see how many hours do you actually have each week to commit to doing business? Because that is going to determine what you can actually, how complex you can make your business model. Often we go in trying to make our business model really complex. But when we get a realistic view of how much time and energy that we can actually put into our business, we can start to simplify that business model and go, okay, this is what I can do right now. And then maybe in 6 months, 10 months from now, I could start to implement these other things. What needs to happen right now? And this comes down to your core product. Okay, so we're skimming away. I'm gonna say this. I don't know if this sounds good to you. I'm like skimming away the fat. I know I'm from Kentucky. You know, like I think it's this like butcher metaphor, like from meat, but maybe that's for you, maybe it's not. But really getting down to the meat of it and saying what is actually essential. And your one core offer is what is extremely essential. All these other little things that you want to do that you think sound great, most likely those are creating noise. And when we're online, there's a lot of noise. And for our message to be super clear, for people to know what we're offering, how it's going to benefit them, how they can work with us, we need that core offer that they can come back to. And through that core offer, it is also simple for us to continue to refine that core offer, to streamline our processes. And for a lot of us, we tend to start creating all these additional things because we're creators, for one. We're trying to keep things interesting. But what we end up doing is creating so much noise within our own world that people can't hear our own message. So if we had one core offer that can distill down all these other things that you're creating, one core offer that serves the core group of people that you typically work with or would like to work with, or at least people that typically pay. And we could get to the most profitable group of people, iron out this program so that it could practically function on its own and with less time from you, so that you can then have time to work on the other things, to make the other things. Most of the times we are overcomplicating our business. And that does not mean that you cannot create all these amazing ideas. You can create them. You can write them down. You can journal about them and you can come back to them. You can infuse them into your core offer, but you have to have your core offer. Your core offer that you are teaching people, your core offer that you are promoting, your core offer that you are selling, because wouldn't we rather sell 10 of one thing that we can put all of our energy in and sell 10 of those than to be creating one thing, trying to sell 2 of those, creating another thing, trying to sell 2 of those, creating another thing, trying to sell 2 of those. And we are spinning and we're getting really exhausting. So type in A if you would love to have this really great core offer that creates this peace and calm, and you can create it and continue to refine it and make it get more and more beautiful. And you could just sell 10 of those as an example. Or would you rather be creating, selling a couple, creating, selling a couple, creating, selling a couple, creating, selling a couple? Or would you love to have B? Which one seems more sustainable for you? Which one seems more sustainable for you? Because really, if you're over here spending and you're creating, launch, create, launch, create, launch, one, no one ever got that first offer or that second offer because you're on offer 10 and they don't even know what you did before, let alone you're going to be the only one working because no one can keep up with you. You can't create a repeatable process for that. Versus if you're over here in A, like I'm just like getting tired just thinking about that, right? I've been there before. But if you're over here in A and you are creating this, refining this, you're taking care of these people, you have this extra time to take care of you, you have your extra time to take care of your clients because you're not over here just spinning. And how we prevent that spinning is the foundation, the model that we implement from the very beginning. And I will tell you, I've done this too. And I teach you all a lot because like I've tried these things. I've seen what's worked. I've seen what hasn't worked. I've had that like experience of the not great things and the great things. And I will tell you, like, when you go to refine your business and you realize you just quit your 9 to 5 and you're going full in on your business and you have created just as much busy work, if not more, in your own business so that you can't still do the meditation, do the art, do the yoga because you're working all the time. Then what was the point? What was the point? Right? Like we are not trying to leave busy to create more busy. And I know for some of us, we're like, well, I just need the money. Like I just need to quit this job and make money in my business. But when you have your own business, it is so much more than that. Because if you get caught in the I'm just chasing money, you'll be over here in the chasing cycle. And we will not be in this refining cycle. Now you can be about the money and be about the purpose and be about the simplicity, but you have to choose which energy you want to step in. Do you want to choose into the abundant in A or into the B, the busy? Do you want to be in the abundant bucket or the busy bucket? And we can create a business and we can create a business model based on ensuring that we have the life model that we want as well. So from today, looking at that and looking at how much time you have, if you're going to be doing sales calls and one-on-one calls and running your business, then you're going to be expecting to work a whole lot. a whole lot. But if you're going to have running your business, having a few sales calls, and then having group coaching is where it's at when you are first starting out. Now, things that I teach is you have a couple, maybe 3 or 4 one-on-one clients under your belt, but we don't need any more than that. I have a client, we mapped out her training, and it was like, you can handle 6 clients at the absolute most, absolute most. And then we had to really start implementing and adding in more group. Now, I will tell you, I've had other clients too. They're like, I don't like group. I haven't had any good experiences with group. And that's your experience. And you get to say, okay, this is what I would have liked to experience from group. And just because you have group sessions doesn't mean that you never get to meet with them one-on-one. All of my people will know, right? Like that it's like, hey, I'm having trouble with it. Great. Let's jump on a call real quick because I have the time, because I'm not stuck in one-on-one meetings. I can work with them on their problems as the problems are coming up. So I say that because a lot of times people fear that their clients won't get all the attention that they need. But we're talking about forming boundaries. You also don't want to be on call all the time for your clients either. And so we have to put those systems and processes in place to say, like, hey, we'll do some group coaching. These are my office hours, and putting those in place too. So you get to design your business, designing your business model. So we've been talking about how we work within our business and laying that foundation for how we work. Let's dive in a little bit further now. We talked about like why group coaching is so important, but we also need to know, do you want to be a low cost product or a luxury product? And this ultimately comes down to a low cost product is going to be based on your clients and what they expect and what they can afford. A luxury product is going to be based on your clients and what they can afford. But it's also going to involve more marketing so that we can position ourselves of higher value. So if you want to be just another little thing and you're comparing yourself to other people's costs, you will always be in the cost. Now, most brands that you see out there, most coaches even, that are offering these really low cost products, they're running ads and all of these things, I will tell you, that is not their end game. That it might be the end game that you see, but that is not their end game. They have so much content. They are packaging up and they are using that to get you into their funnel. That it is not the first place, that is not where they started. And I say that because I talk to a lot of people, and this is their start with a subscription or they start with a low cost product. The people that are doing well selling the low cost products, they have an audience. If you have an audience of 500,000 people, of 5,000 people even, and you throw a low cost product out and you have 1,000 people buy, then it is profitable. If you throw out a low cost product and you have no audience and you did not run ads, you are not going to get any bites. You just put in a ton of effort, the effort you could have been putting into a high ticket offer, a luxury item. So knowing your audience is super important, as well as knowing your business model. What is it that you're aiming to really create? And when you are first starting out, we are not creating a low ticket item unless you're just getting the experience and you're just throwing something together really quick. That's what they're doing. But their quick looks different than your quick because they have all of this content. If you can throw together a really quick product within a weekend, you can create the whole thing within a weekend. You could sell it for a low ticket. Go for it. But if you start overthinking it and it starts taking a week and 2 weeks and 3 weeks, that's no longer a low ticket item. We must start with a high ticket item and we must position it for as a luxury item, of seeing the value. Again, if you just need to confidence build, then confidence build. That's okay too. And I throw this out there and you're like, but which one is he? Which one? Well, you'll know. If you're like, I can't do a luxury item, then just go do it. Just go do it. I'm not going to fight you on it. I'm not going to tell you no, but I am going to tell you to watch your time. Okay. So knowing who you're selling to. Now, what I see a lot of people do, the mistakes that they make is they start with the people who need the basic education, who really truly need it, and they don't know they need it. So they're spending all their time educating rather than getting sales. I did this. I did this for a very long time, especially in yoga and meditation. There are people out there searching for what you have to offer, ready to buy. Those are the people that you need to find. Those are the people that you need to be talking to. They exist. People that you don't know exist. Okay. There are people out there already buying products like what you offer. They're buying multiple versions of it. There are people that are just spending and spending and spending. There are people out there spending $50,000 on coaching programs. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not joking. I see it all the time. There are people that are constantly buying. There are people who have spending problems who are buying. There are people who are buying who don't have the money that are buying. So I never want to hear that as an excuse. Do not market to yourself. Do not market to yourself, because if you yourself are a person who doesn't buy, who are scared of buying, then you're not going to get people to buy. Now, if you yourself are a person that does buy, then market to yourself. All right. So when we look at really getting sales, and because if our business model does not sell, if our how we line it up, it does not make sales, then we don't have a profitable business model. So we always have to look at what is actually going to sell. So first and foremost, we need to decide within our business model if we are offering low cost or if we are going to be luxury. Okay. Yes, we understand this. Thumbs up. The other thing that we have to understand is, what is our core product? A lot of people don't decide that. They get caught up on that. Your core product. Let me see if I have it over here. Oh, I put it away. So your core product should have your core product in the middle, and any additional products that you make, whether they're support products, whether they're just bonus products, whether they're something that you're selling for the weekend thing, Black Friday or something like that, everything should point to your core product. Any of your launches that you do should point to your core product. They should lead to that. Right? So 7-day social media challenge leads to the get visible method. The get visible method also leads to our bigger core product. Ties right in. Launching your profitable coaching business ties into our big core product. Everything should tie to that core product. Everyone should know what your core product is. All right. Your core product versus how you position yourself is what's going to lead to your sales. An additional component that we need to do next is, what is your break even? What is it that you need to make to hit the next level? Which we talked about that. What is your next level? What do you want to make? So maybe your goal is 6 figures. Maybe it's 7 figures. Maybe you're at one of those milestones in between. So if we are looking to make 100K, and I'm going to use this because this is easy numbers to break down. You need to make 100K a year. Let's say you're going to do 8 launches within the year. Okay, so I'm going to write this up on the board so you can see it. So we've got 100K divided by 8 launches is going to say how much we need to make each launch. So we need to make, is that right? I'm like, it just seems so little. Yes. So we need to make 12.5 each launch. Let's say each launch, you're like, I don't care. 8 people, 12 people, 20 people. How many people would you want in your group that feels sustainable for you? And again, when you have a group come in, you can onboard all at the same time. It gives you a little bit more time with each person. But let's do 12 people. So 12.5 divided by 12, right? We're looking at right at $1,000, which is a great price, right? A great price. So let's say we're gonna do $1,000, 12 people. Look at this, 12 people. If we do that, then we also need to know, okay, if I'm doing door by door to get them to come over at my launch, how many people do I need to sign up? Well, I always say a minimum, like always try to get 300 people signed up always. Just always aim for that number. Um and looking at the numbers of people, like if you don't even have 12 people signed up for your launch, what's the likelihood that you're going to get 12 people signed up? You're going to have a portion of people who sign up and don't show up. You're going to have a people that show up but don't participate. There's people that life events are getting in the way. So when we can really spend most of our time just getting people over into our launch, then we can build that know, like, trust factor. It's like doing webinars. And then we have the likelihood of actually converting them and improving our conversion strategy from the launch to getting your 12 people. Does that make sense? Versus how many people's doors would I have to go knock on to get 12 people at $1,000? $1,000 product, really, for a group is not a lot. It's not a lot. And you can run this group. You're like, but Izzy, how long does that run? You could have this running for 6 weeks. You could have it running for 8 weeks. You could have it running for 12 weeks if you wanted to. I wouldn't do anything above 12 weeks for a $1,000 product. Really, 6-week program, 8-week program. Now, if you're running your launch every 6 weeks, ideally this would be an 8 to 12 week program so that you can be onboarding and or doing your launch and getting people ready to start as that one is ending. Let me break that down. Okay. So you've got we will erase this. All right. So you've got every 6 weeks you're going to be doing your launch, but your program is going to be every 8 weeks. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But you've got week A and B. You're doing launch. And then this is start. As this is coming up, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here, you could do a pre-launch. At week 6, you could do a second launch, and then you would have them signed back up for at the end of that 8 weeks, as one example. So that you would have this continuous cycle of as soon as one group is done, the next group is starting. And we would have a cycle to keep them going. Now, that does over here, we're kind of talking about like more of our marketing and our campaigns versus our teaching schedule. And so when I do the big planning session, we have like what's actually going on in our business, what's our marketing, what's our promotional calendars that are also going on. So we're going to be breaking all of this down even further in our 2024, creating your content and promotional calendar. We're going to do a 4-hour workshop and we're going to do just all of this. We're going to get this whole thing ironed out. That way we can have that cycle continuously going. Okay. And so building out our core product and understanding how all of that fits is super important. how we're actually going to be functioning, when we're going to be taking time off, if anyone else is going to be working with us on these things. These are all super important. All right. So this launch strategy can be multifaceted. And generally what I say is need to have a lead magnet. We need to have how we're getting visible. We need to have a launch strategy, and we need these different components so that we can focus on that portion. Now you will still have some messages and DMs, but rather doing cold, we're doing warm or hot, which takes out a function or takes out a piece of our process. I would rather spend 2 hours each day working on my launch, presenting my launch, than spending 2 hours trying to manage 20 some odd messages and let that lead rather to the 2 or 3 great messages that I was gonna have to boil those down to anyways, right? It's working smarter with your time and not harder. And so with this business model, we start to say, how can I onboard multiple people at one time? How can I promote the same product multiple at one time? How can I start to double up my efforts as well as create processes and systems around all of that and my core product as well? This allows us to start looking at numbers and being able to calculate our numbers better to say, hey, on average, I'm getting this many people into my launch. This is the conversion rate. And so I can say, these are the strategies that are working to get people registered for my launch. This is where we need this more masculine side of our business. Now, on the feminine side, we need to speak to the person. On the feminine side, we can speak more to the emotions, the feeling, the user design of it all. Then we get the conversation going. So, looking more at this and more of our business chakras, we say, does your business have this foundation? Does your business have the foundation of knowing, of going, okay, I know that I need to do 8 launches a year and I need 12 people registered and I need this many people, or I need 12 people to purchase. I need this many people registered. These are my strategies for making that happen. And to be able to rest into that, to know the financials of like, this is how much out of 100 will go towards taxes. This is how much I have in my spend budget for this. This is how much money that I know that I can make. And to be able to have that break even essentially. Imagine how much more of a foundation you and your business can both rest into. Because when we are just spinning, there is no foundation, no sturdy foundation for your business. And to recognize that you need your foundation just as much as your business needs its. We have to have a plan. We have to have a business model. Otherwise, you are just a hobby talking about being a business. It's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. We're just talking the talk, but we're not walking the walk. Talking the talk. There we go. Walking the walk. So laying down this foundation. So your homework today is to really look at creating your schedule. Going back to those notes. So what is your people schedule? What is the times you actually want to work and want to work with people? What is the times that you need to actually be able to function? And that does not have to equal 40 hours or 30 hours. You could say, okay, here's my 20 hours to work and the different ways I'm going to be working. And actually have all of that lined up. I would love to, if you had a Google Calendar, maybe you have one that you don't really utilize, and put that in the calendar so you can move those around and see what that actually looks like and feels like. When you would actually teach, when you would have time to take on open clients or to work on sales calls or something like that. Like make this sample calendar for yourself of what this is actually going to look like. And if you're like, hey, I'm going to keep studying, I'm going to keep learning, I know I'm going to keep want to do this and do that, make sure that's all factored into that calendar. And then be thinking like, how long is my course? Is it an 8-week program? Is it an ongoing program? How am I going to keep getting people in? Or do I have a max set for myself? What is your max? Hopefully we have something where it's like it never maxes out. You don't have to always lead this program. You can have other coaches leading your program for you. So, really setting yourself up so that the sky is the limit, meaning there is no limit. Or have you limited and capped yourself? And if you have, is that just like, hey, just for this quarter, or is that something that's ongoing? We have to have a business model. All right. So I hope you will join me in day two of launching your profitable business. In day two, we're going to be talking about our online presence, how to get more visible online, how to showcase our business and what we're doing and all of that. And then on day three, we'll be talking about those conversion strategies and actually getting the clients. Now, this 3-day training won't be available forever, debatably. um, so you can watch it for the remaining of this week. And I'll give you some time next week too, since it's the holiday. You want to come into our Facebook group and actually do the homework assignments. And we're giving you opportunities to win a ticket to our 2024 content creation workshop. So you can actually win a ticket. We gave away 2 tickets last time we did our launch, and we'll be giving away 2 more. And then for those who participate and maybe don't win, you'll get a very discounted rate. How about that? So you still win regardless. This is the time during this week and during while these trainings are available that you can reach out to me. You can get some feedback on some things. I'll post in the group some additional resources as well. If you'd like to learn more about your business chakras, I'm putting something together for you all. So let's type in chakras in the chat if you want to learn more about that. I'm putting together a one pager where you can see and get an idea of what a balanced business actually looks like. If you would like that resource, then type in chakras in the chat and we get that finished by the end of the week. We will get that over to you as well. So type in chakras in the chat if you want to learn more of like this balanced business and what that can kind of look like in these key areas, and gives us a hint of what we might be missing, maybe where we're a little overzealous, where we're a little underzealous. So awesome, awesome. Perfect. So I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'll be going live at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. I'll see you here for launching your profitable business. All right. Bye.